Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 137. Andrew Eisen here, along with E. Zachary Knight. Hello, Zach.
Hello. Hello, Andrew. Man, I'm miserable today.
Yeah,
I've got
I
this
can hear
nasty
the allergies
cold
in your
thing.
voice.
Yeah. Well, it's the last couple of weeks we've had like some kind of flu come through our house.
Actually,
We
got
had a few
people
kids that
having sicknesses too.
yeah, we had some kind of flu come through because we had a few kids who were throwing up. We had a lot of stomach aches and some diarrhea and all that. But now it's turned into sinus and chest congestion. My youngest girl, she's 6, but her voice is just almost gone. She's just all, I would need some cake or something like that. She just barely able to talk. It's all raspy and stuff. And I've got this sinus head stuff and I thought it was allergies this morning, but no, my allergy medicines haven't made a dent in it. So I took some cold and flu Advil and see if that helps. But yeah, my wife has had sinus and chest stuff, and just about all of my kids have. So yeah, we're all pretty miserable. But
Let me share a text I got earlier this afternoon. It says, "Hey, Yvonne, it's Hannah." Thumbs up emoji and leaf emoji. So I responded, "Hi, Hannah, it's Andrew. Hope you find Yvonne's correct number." And then she says, "Oh, okay. Do you know her or just the wrong number?" Just the wrong number, I'm afraid. So
that's funny.
good luck to Hannah in finding Yvonne's number. Ah. Oh, contextual. Not often on these screens. Glad to be here. What's the general conversation theme? And my voice makes you melt like butter. I hope
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Basically, we just, like the name of the podcast implies, Molehill Mountain, we make those out of things that ultimately aren't particularly important. Like, oh my God, have you seen the pre-art for Sonic in the new movie?
Oh goodness.
I mean,
Yeah.
we all knew pretty much it was going to look like, and these are probably the early marketing renders.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
probably look a bit different in the final design, but oh my God,
Yeah.
that
Definitely.
looked like it was
Yeah.
studio noted to death.
Oh yeah. But oh man, it does look bad, and I'm not surprised by how bad it looks. But man, you know, because a lot of people complained about the Sonic Boom design, or I think that's right.
It's the one
But
with the
the
wrapping.
really long legs and the wraps on his wrists and hands and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of people
Not a
complain
bad
about that.
design,
But
just an odd design.
yeah, but that is head and shoulders way better than this
Oh yes,
leaked movie design.
it's so bad. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's objectively bad design. Just
Yeah,
it doesn't. They're
it's way. I
they're
don't know.
trying to force something cartoony into more realistic proportions rather than.
Yeah,
And if you want to make something more realistically proportioned just so it can move with live action, you have to alter other aspects of the design with it. For
yeah.
example, the one we're seeing, the ears look really weird. Like they're not actually ears. Like they don't really
Hmm.
connect with anything. And and his mouth and face is like the full cartoon how Sonic's mouth is, but it
Yeah.
doesn't work with the way they've built the rest of the design. It's like
Hmm.
you gotta. That's why I say it looks like something that was studio noted to death. And before I go on, let's give a shout out
Yeah.
to Mike Oxmall, DG's friend, because he's having a hard time today. So hope things get better there, Mike. Shout out to you. Um, I mean, imagine it. I almost want if I ran Illumination, the animation company, just to be a trolling jerk. I would leak some Mario art for because
Yeah.
Illumination is doing the upcoming Mario film for Nintendo. just really bad off-brand, the non-Nintendo licensed Mario Christmas ornaments that you'd find in a Hallmark or something. Uh,
Hmm.
that just looks totally wrong.
Yeah.
I would I would do that because I'm a jerk.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I'm not too thrilled, but I'm not a Sonic fan.
Yeah, you know,
I've played a handful of Sonic games, but never all the way through. It's like I play the first couple of levels in Sonic games, and that's about it.
yeah,
Because
I'll have to be honest. I genuinely don't like the Sonic games. I mean, I appreciate and acknowledge their place in gaming history, and I like the design of the character. I
yeah,
think Sonic the Hedgehog is neat as a mascot character, but the games I've just never enjoyed playing. So the movie was not something I was ever like. If they completely botch this movie, which all signs point to yes, um, I can't say I'd be too disappointed because I don't have any skin in the game because I
yeah,
don't care about Sonic in the first place. But I know a lot of people do, and ooh,
yeah. Now this is the
uh,
one where Jim Carrey's playing Doctor
uh,
Eggman, right? Doctor
uh,
Robotnik.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Um,
Not sure how that's gonna go over, but
yeah.
yeah,
So contextual. There is going to be a Mario movie, and Illumination, the ones
the
behind the
the
Despicable Me
Minions,
movie.
Despicable
Yeah,
Me, and stuff. Yeah,
the studio behind that.
but that one's gonna be full CG rather than the
Yeah, from
rather
what
than
that
yeah,
is that's never been confirmed, I don't think, but that is the writing assumption that it's going to be a full CG animated movie, not a
yeah,
live action hybrid or anything like that.
yeah, and the Sonic's gonna be a live action hybrid, which is gonna it's gonna be bad.
It,
I don't know.
just
Yeah,
make an animated movie, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I've said this a couple times before, but I'll say it again. If they get Mario's design, like if Illumination goes for a more realistically textured Mario universe rather than ultra cartoony, um, they might consider doing that, doing the character model such that it would feel at home in, say, the Detective Pikachu universe, because then that's the first step along the way to a Smash Brothers movie.
nice.
If the Mario characters, the way they do the models are similar enough to the style that the Detective Pikachu movie does it, then you can do the Nintendo Cinematic Universe culminating in Smash Brothers the movie.
Yeah,
Ooh, fanboy stuff. Oh yeah.
yeah.
So we have a lot of topics to cover tonight, so let's just jump right in.
All right.
First, yeah, for the last couple of weeks, we've been pointing out companies just putting their foots in their mouths. Um, Bethesda has been the whipping boy for several weeks running because of the disastrous launch of everything related to Fallout 76. Last week was Nordic, THQ Nordic's
Yeah, THQ.
ill-advised toe dipping into 8chan for an AMA. And this week, uh, Valve. So Valve has long since stopped caring or trying. Valve strikes me as an incredibly lazy company that is satisfied to just let the money roll in.
Yeah,
Can't
they
say I
said
really
we've got our
blame them.
service. It's up and running. We got all the gamers, so
Yeah,
we don't
and
have
what
to
I
do
what I
anything
mean by
else.
that is they're not. Where's Half-Life 3? Is what I mean by that. Um, or Half-Life Episode 3. Episode. Uh,
Yeah,
they had another
yeah.
Half-Life
Half Life
2 Episode 3.
2,
I think,
Episode 3. Yeah,
right. Also, the fact that they don't do, for the most part, any semblance of uh, quality control or curation. They
Yeah.
seem to have a laissez-faire, anything goes, even if there's no working executable to the game, just whatever. We'll take our cut of whatever you're making. Um, and that has come back to bite it in the butt several times,
Mm-hmm.
from several different angles. A lot of times, a game will end up on the platform that a lot of people raise their eyebrows at, and are like, "Valve, are you sure you really want that piece of crap on your service?" And Valve's like, okay, I guess we'll get rid of this game." Other problems come when a lot of games, just the developers don't know if their game is okay because Valve is too lazy or cowardly, one might say, to actually take a stance on what it wants and doesn't want on its own service.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it wants to sell or not sell on its own service is its own choice and is fine. You may not agree with what it wants to sell. You may agree with what it wants to sell. But at the end of the day, whatever the hell Valve wants to sell and doesn't want to sell is its choice as a privately owned company, and that's okay. But you gotta make a call, man.
Yeah.
So last
Yeah.
summer, I believe, they tried to actually implement a policy, and the policy boiled down to, as long as it's not illegal or trolling, it's fine.
Yeah.
Which has been problematic since, and culminates in this week's news when a lovely game called Rape Day, which apparently is a visual novel which takes place in the zombie apocalypse, in which you play as a psychopathic bad guy person who goes around abusing and raping people. Lovely.
Yeah.
So, Valve was very quiet on this game for a while. A lot of people were like, Valve, stuff like Honey Pop it's 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 a cute match 3 puzzler with boobs.
Yeah.
It's an adult game. It's got naked anime girls in it. May not be for you, but I think we can all agree that it's just smut. It's fine. If you're cool with smut, it's smut. This might be something else. Are you sure this is something you want on your service? You may, and if you do, well, hey, that's your choice. But are you sure Rape Day is something you really want on your service? And Valve was like, counting its money. What? Do something? No, don't wanna. Busy. Well, Valve finally decided Rape Day is not going to be sold on Steam. And its official reason, let me pull up its statement here. Okay. It took a week to really look into this one.
Yeah. This
Uh,
thing's been talked about to death for a week, and it's
mhm,
yeah.
mhm. So, after significant fact finding and discussion, we think Rape Day poses unknown costs and risks and therefore won't be on Steam. Do you think Valve hires PR guys at all? Because that's kind of an odd. What is that again? It's unknown costs and risks.
Yeah.
Not this content is this is not the type of content that we choose to associate with. Um, so
Yeah.
it's kind of unclear what the problem was. I mean, it does. It sounds like, and there's nothing. If you're fine with the game, you're fine with the game. That's not passing any judgment here. But Valve isn't taking a stand. They're just. It almost sounds like, you're bitching about it and making me do things. And it's so fine.
Yeah.
We'll not sell the game. Will you please stop talking about it? So, Rape Day is no longer on Steam. However, you can apparently still buy it from rapeday.com, which is the developer's website. Now, Valve's official position is illegal or straight up trolling. Those type of games are not allowed on the service. Is Rape Day illegal? In America, I don't think so. I know of no law that would prevent you from selling a game with that type of content in it.
Yeah, I don't think there
In this
is.
country, I don't believe it's illegal. So pass with flying colors there. Is it? I don't know why I'm using my pinky, but is it trolling? Well,
Probably.
um, let's look at the Rape Day website. Um,
I'll let you
so
look at that.
I'll describe it to you. I'm looking at the Rape Day website, and one thing that I notice is there's no video, there's no screenshots, there's nothing on the website except the main page just has a short description. It says Rape Day is a visual novel where you control the choices of a terrifying psychopath during a zombie apocalypse. Your choices affect the progression of the story. The game is a dark comedy with pornographic elements that many will find highly offensive. By here. Let's look at the Q&A. Where did you get your inspiration for Rape Day? Goosebumps. The
Goosebumps?
the children's spooky stories series of books? Huh? Yeah, Next question. What is the underlying theme of Rape Day? Happy nihilism. Is this game a comedy? Yes, it's a dark comedy. Question. Rape is bad in real life. Answer. Yes. I think this dude wrote all these questions himself.
Probably.
Um, why make a story about rape take place in a zombie apocalypse? When society breaks down, all kinds of crime increase. Okay. Why make a visual novel about a rapist? Fantasy. You. Who is the
Yeah.
target audience? Adults. What is your favorite color? Purple. So, so I go to the news section on this site, and the news section is just a bunch of links to other websites that are talking about the game. The first one is
Yeah.
something in the Sun from the UK that says Sick Troll posts Rape Day gameplay as a serial killer rapist. Lots more, lots more. Here's a link to a change.org petition to ban Rape Day. Here's a bunch of news in its own section for Rape Day being banned. So, is the game a straight up troll? My guess would be yes, just looking at
Yeah.
the way the guy organizes and talks on his website. It comes across to me, could be totally wrong, but it comes across to me as he was just, pushing buttons and seeing what would happen. And it seems to be just, I'm making a rape game to make a rape game because I know that will generate a lot of controversy and traffic and get people talking, and that's what I have
Yeah.
to do today. So Steam could have said, this is just straight up trolling, and as we clearly spelled out last summer, that does not fly with us, so no. But hey, audience watching this podcast, it is a game apparently that you can buy. So if any of you buy it and play it, yeah, let me know how it is.
Yeah.
Because I saw some screenshots in like a Kotaku article, which I assume is from the game. I guess the Steam page had some screenshots
Yeah.
at
I
some
think
point,
so.
and
But yeah, they just
it looks
looked
like
bad.
crap. Yeah,
Yeah. It was. Yeah. The everything looked shiny, like greasy shiny. Like they
it
didn't.
looks like
Yeah.
prefab models just dropped into prefab.
Yeah.
It's probably just a bunch of like Unity assets and stuff thrown together with a text adventure thing. Um,
Yeah.
so
It was just it was pretty terrible looking, and even if the theme weren't rape, like even if the theme was just a zombie apocalypse game, it would still look bad and be terrible, and wouldn't be and it wouldn't sell. But but then we wouldn't get all this controversy because zombie apocalypse games, everybody's tired of them and they don't talk about them unless they come from a AAA developer or for some reason become an overnight success and
Hmm.
everybody plays it. But yeah, but that's, excuse me, that's all this really sounds like, is that this guy's just, he wanted to get his 15 minutes of fame, and
Got it.
this was the quickest way to do it, and he got it. And it just, yeah, as Andrew described his website, it doesn't look like he's invested much in this game at
Yeah,
all.
it comes across more he just kind of getting a kick out of how many people are writing about him. So,
Yeah,
hey, buddy, here, this show link, add it to the page because we're
yeah,
talking about it. Although, really, this is more about, from my perspective, this is more about Valve. And I think Valve would do better for, I mean, it's making a ton of money either way. I guess it doesn't really
yeah,
matter. But I think Valve would do well to um, really figure out what kind of a platform it wants to be. What kind of content is okay, what kind of content
yeah,
isn't okay. And again, I want to point out that's Valve's choice. Whatever choice it makes, so long as it's legal in whatever country, is fine. Um, but I think it would behoove Valve to actually figure that out for itself and then just write some guidelines and rules, because straight up
yeah,
trolling is kind of vague and not very helpful, especially since Valve does seem to be kind of inconsistent when it comes to what games are allowed on its platform and whatnot, especially when it comes to games with sexual content.
yeah,
Some games are on there and fine, and other games which look exactly like the games that are on there get banned, and you're like, well, I don't get it. Why this game but not this game? And it's
yeah.
immediately frustrating and annoying to not just gamers but the developers too.
Yeah, and this all leads to other issues too. Like just yesterday, or I believe it was yesterday, no, 2 days ago, um, Variety reported that a member of the UK Parliament is calling for the government to review Steam and its policies after Rape Day came out. He called, or she, or I don't know, called the game utterly abhorrent material, and implored the government to commit to getting around the table and sorting this issue for good. I guess
I'm not sure what
the
they think
goal
they're going to
here,
do about it. Okay, I mean, I'm not terribly
yeah,
familiar with UK law, but uh, Valve is a private company. I don't know what exactly it could do about that.
yeah. Well, they could expand the role of uh, the British film and gaming, uh, the organization that reviews and rates games, or provides ratings for them. I forget the companies, they're the organization now, but they could call for, create a law where that organization now has the authority to moderate online stores in the same way they do physical retail, where you have to meet these guidelines in order to be legal. So like you have to have some way of verifying the age of the buyer. You have to have some way of gating content so that underage kids um, can't access the content at all. Something like that is
Well,
probably
yeah, I
what
mean,
would come
it
out of
could
this.
certainly do something as far as games of particular content being sold in their country, but I don't know if it could do anything to Valve specifically. Like, hey, you can't host stuff on your own platform. You may not be able to
Yeah,
sell it in our country, but I don't think they can do anything about what they do and don't host on their platform.
yeah,
But
probably not, but yeah. Well, that's just something that what comes to mind when they call for action on this, and I doubt anything is going to come of it
mhm,
because this is just one person and
yeah,
calling for this, and I doubt there's enough interest among Parliament to get it moving. And
You remember Rape Lay, which was a different game back in like early days of game
old
politics,
days, yeah,
six
yeah,
or seven, somewhere around there.
yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, that was a man. If game politics were still online, we could just kind of search engine and stuff. Ah man,
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember what even happened with that game. I think it was sold in like one country, like in Japan or something.
yeah. It was in Japan, and I think like somebody tried setting up a third-party resale uh, point for it on Amazon, and Amazon like took it down almost immediately. And
Yeah, it
but,
ESRB would have. I don't think anyone even submitted it for a rating or even tried to sell it here.
yeah, nobody did. Nobody.
Channels anyway. But yeah, so trying to sell a game with, although that game at least looked competent, it looked like there was an actual
Somebody tried.
budget
Yeah,
behind it to make a, gross as it sounds, but a rape fantasy game. Um, so this just looks like a, you know taking a bunch of Unity
yeah,
assets and slamming them together in a make your own game maker thing, and doing the
yeah,
novel thing, and yeah. So anyway, Valve, just do better, because
yeah,
buying games on your service is crap, because I have to wade through a bunch of garbage. And I don't mean stuff with sexual content. I mean literal garbage. Some stuff that just doesn't even work. you know, uh,
yeah.
Moderation and curation is not a bad thing in and of itself. I mean,
Mhm.
it can end up being a bad thing. I mean, if you moderate or curate something so hard that there's only 5 games on on your platform, then yeah, you might want to ease off a bit. If you're, I don't know, I think there is value to curation and moderation. But again, I'm not saying ban the game; it should never be sold anywhere. Hey, if that's really what you want to make as a game developer, okay. And if that's
Yep.
really what you want to play, hey, I admit I would check it out just out of pure curiosity. Um, One of my favorite games, in the sense that I will never forget it, was a game on
Hmm.
the Apple II. Um, It was called Psychotic, if I'm remembering correctly. It's like 7
Interesting.
years old. Uh,
Yeah.
but this was a game where you played a person in a mental institution. It was a point and click adventure game, but you played the titular psychotic, and the object of the game was to break out of the insane asylum you're in. And I'm not sure, because I never got very far because I was 7. But someone, Pamela, my mom's friend, uh, told me this was when adventure games had text parsers. So
Yeah.
you end up in cell. I think you have to like take a brick out of the wall and you find something. Somehow you get a crowbar, but
Yeah.
eventually the nurse comes in and Pam says, "Type in rape nurse." Now I'm 6, 7 years old. I have no idea what that even means. Rape nurse. And so that's an option. And what happens is, again, these are games where there's single images, and then when you move to the next screen you get a new image. There's
Yeah.
really no animation at all. So you have the nurse standing there with her tray of nursey things, and you type rape nurse, and then she's sitting spread eagle on the ground. And me, again, being 7 years old or something like that, I laughed because I had no conceptual understanding of what the hell I was actually seeing or doing.
Yeah.
And this was also a game where you could type piss or poop, and your character would do it, and there'd just be a lump of poop in the ground in front of you, and then it would fight you. It was a weird game, and I've been trying to track it down just to look at it again. I remember once you break out of the insane asylum, you walk down the road and you end up meeting this gigantic snail with a human face. is the weirdest damn game.
Weird. Yeah.
So I guess my entire point here is rape, of course, is a horrible, horrible thing. But I am one of the people who would never say that rape or subject matters such as that should be banned from inclusion in any media, being
Yeah.
books, video games, music, movies, whatever, um, and in any circumstances. Uh, I don't know how I would feel about Psychotic the video game with adult eyes, because a lot of this, a lot of it's just kind of remembering from when I was 7 and going, oh my god. um,
Yeah.
so anyway, so no judgment, like what you like, it's all fine, but Valve, for crying out loud, figure out your policies and what kind of platform you want to be. Arg. All right.
Yeah.
Let us move on to, let's see what I have next. Oh, Nintendo. Nintendo has announced on the down low the new Labo
Yeah.
kit. This one is the VR Labo kit. So
And it looks interesting because this
it
is the
does look.
first kit that's not completely cardboard because they have some parts in it that can't be
Yeah, it
cardboard.
comes with a plastic thing with little it comes with the plastic goggle bit that
Yeah, with the
slots
VR lenses
right
and
with the lenses. That's the word I was looking for.
yeah,
So it's kind of like Google Cardboard, where you use your Labo to build a holder for the Switch. An error has occurred. Please press the power button to restart the console. Oh, dear me, my Switch is black screen. Um,
wow,
Error code 210704445. Um, so essentially, you build a housing for the Switch and slot it in the box, and it has a plastic piece with lenses that I guess will just look at each side of the screen. It's
yeah,
similar to exactly what Google Cardboard is, I would imagine. Um, I would imagine these games are going to have to be graphically pretty simple because that's a 720 display, and you're
yeah.
dividing the image up into two. And even at 720p, a lot of the games that run at that resolution don't run very fast at that resolution. So I'm going to guess that these VR Nintendo knows that, and these VR games are going to be um, uh, graphically simple.
Hmm.
Comparatively. You'll
Yeah,
notice that what they advertise on the web page, the Labo VR web page, because there's no video yet. And my first thought was, could you not figure out a way to capture footage for VR? Did it just not work? Was there no good way to demo that in the video? Because I thought it was really odd that the page just appeared, and it was tweeted out on Nintendo of America's Twitter
yeah,
account, but it it's just the web page. So
yeah.
what's
And they've
interesting
got
about
some.
it too is it is obviously something, mainly because it wouldn't work, but it's obviously something that is not going to be now. I'll play all of your games in VR. No, because it's not a housing that you put on your head like a pair of headphones. All of them require you to hold the thing up to your face. So
Well,
one
it
of
looks like it has some. It looks like if you get the starter set with the blaster, it has a generic VR goggles case, which you can slot the Joy Cons to the side, but it also has grommets that I assume you could put like elastic or something to hold it to your head if you needed to.
I suppose, but I didn't see anything like that in any
Yeah,
of
it doesn't show. Yeah, none of
for
the action
example,
shots show
yeah,
the
the,
anything, but
the
it looks
robot
like
kit actually has a strap that goes around your head to hold the visor that you flip up and down.
yeah,
So it does. You could do something like that, but all of these seem to be made for. I mean, one is the camera, which you hold up to your face. One is a gun, which you hold up to your face. One is kind of like a ViewMaster, which is just a cardboard box that you hold up to your
Yeah.
face. The interesting thing about that one is the switch actually sticks out the side, so you're holding the controllers um, like
Yeah.
this. What are some of the other ones? The camera.
There's
Oh,
an elephant
there's the
and a
elephant
bird.
one, and the bird one, which you're looking up the ass end of a bird. I seriously, it's not going to be this, but Nintendo, if that is a avian colonoscopy simulator, I will love you forever.
Yeah.
Please, please be bird colonoscopy. That would be so funny. I would
Yeah.
like that.
And one of them is a camera, like just a picture camera. But it looks like you've got one Joy-Con on the side, which I guess is what you would use to snap the pictures, and the other one goes into the lens housing, or like where the camera lens would be. And it looks like you can actually twist it to focus and stuff. And so
Yeah.
that looks really cool. I think that's a pretty cool design.
I'm everyone looks at that and they're like, Pokemon Snap returns, hallelujah! But probably not, because if you look at the box, each of the uh, different VR goggle configurations have a little bit of art next to them. Like the stare up the bird's butt one has a bunch of birds. So realistically, it's
Yeah.
probably not avian colonoscopy. It's probably fly with the birdies, because we saw that thing. You squeeze the sides and the wings flap. So it's probably
Yeah.
like pilot wings, but just you're a seagull. The gun one has a missile next to it, so guns, missiles. The ViewMaster one has like a
Planet or
next to it, so maybe that's
yeah.
explore space or something. The camera has fish and sharks next to it, so I'm guessing it's an underwater. Snap pictures of what was that game in the Wii? Endless Ocean.
In the
So
ocean, yeah.
probably like that. You go underwater and snap pictures of fish. And the elephant one looks like I don't know. Is that a pencil? Are,
Yeah, it looks
are you
like
playing an elephant who
who's
paints
drawing or painting, yeah.
because we've
Maybe.
video of elephants actually using paintbrushes and an easel to make art. So that seems like a really cumbersome way to do it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is $80. But interestingly, it's broken up into. It can be broken up into kits, so you can buy just the main visor housing and the gun one for $40, and
Yeah.
then, the camera and the elephant comes in another kit for $20, and the bird and a wind pedal, which kind of looks like a bass drum foot pedal, uh,
Yeah.
comes in another kit for $20.
Not sure what that's used for, other than to
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. It
I
just
do
seems
love the
weird.
fact that one of the Joy Cons is in the bird's face as its beak, and the thumbstick is its eye. That's just kind of neat. I like that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that. But yeah, that's kind of neat.
So still ridiculously expensive, but I do like the idea that they're breaking it up into kits. Um, just so so anyone who's VR curious can dip their toe in the water without completely breaking. And then they're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is really neat. Then they can shell out for the
Yeah.
rest of them. However, the other three kits I've seen at Best Buy and on Amazon and a few other places have dropped down to $40. I don't know if they've since gone back up, but $40 really feels like the right price for these kits to me.
Yeah, something like that. The original prices are pretty steep, and you'd have to be a pretty diehard Nintendo fan to want to just get one of those
Mm.
at that price. But
Yeah, I got the Labo kit for free because it was a Christmas present, and honestly, I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed because I've always thought origami was cool, and that's kind of what this is.
yeah,
I really enjoyed building all of the various toy cons, and I played the games for like a couple of minutes, and I was like, I've talked about them on earlier shows, but
Yeah.
they're so with these, I'd probably enjoy building them and go, oh, that's neat for about 10 minutes per game, and that would be it. So
Yeah.
maybe if it drops to reasonable price, I'll pick it up. But what do you think? Do you think this entry level VR is something that's going to take off? My thoughts are it's probably going to be no more popular than Labo already has been.
Yeah, probably not because it uses the Switch itself as the screen, as the goggles, and that's something that not very many people enjoyed with like you mentioned the Google Cardboard and all those millions of stick your phone in the VR headset thing type things. It's like nobody buys those.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about them. People want the dedicated VR head or hardware, like you can get with the Oculus Rift and the PlayStation VR and stuff. And
I think
you know,
once it really becomes apparent that this is not play all of your Switch games in VR, I think that's really going to put a damper on it.
yeah, well, and I don't think Nintendo is marketing it that way. So hopefully nobody thinks that that's what's
Nintendo's not
going to get.
marketing it at all. It sent
Yeah,
out a press release and it has a web page that's that there's no commercials, there's no video on its channel. I assume that will change at some point, but um,
you would think so. Yeah, they would have to have some kind of trailer at some point because yeah, it needs one.
Jordan says, "Yarn games, cardboard games. What's next? Macrame."
Yeah,
So, I mean, it looks neat, but rather, I like Labo because I think building these little gadgets is fun. Oh, I did hear someone say this is nice because it doesn't require as much setup as something like PlayStation VR, which requires you to put the sensor on a stand and there's wires going to the headset thing, and you have to plug it in the right place.
that's true. Yeah,
And have the glowy bob controllers, and I'm thinking, yeah, but it's not like Labo doesn't by nature have its own hour to 2 hour setup. You have to build the damn thing. So there is a bit of setup there, but it is probably a little bit easier to use without tripping over cords or
yeah. Well,
light.
and once you build the cardboard things, you don't have to rebuild them every time you want to play. Whereas with Sony VR, it's like once you're done, you have to put your living room back together, which means putting away all the extra hardware for the PlayStation VR. And then when you want to play again, you have to move your furniture out of the way, put the equipment back up, and then play. So,
Try2 has an interesting point. Says the biggest reason I'd get something like that would be to play the Switch without using my hands to hold it while lying in bed. And that's a fair point. If Nintendo just marketed something like, here's just a thing to hold it to your face while you lay in bed. You just have the Joy Cons in your hands, but the Switch is just on your
yeah,
face. And maybe the little lenses will push it away so you're not burning your retinas out by having your
yeah,
face right up
maybe.
to the screen.
But then you can just get a we've got a my wife picked up this um this thing that just sits over your neck and has little arms that stick out and a grabber for your phone, so you can like sit there and watch YouTube on your phone without having to have your hands up. It's like just use one of those for your Switch, and it's like it should work just fine. But yeah, and it can be used as a desktop stand for your phone or tablet or whatever too. So like if you don't want it over your neck, you can just set it on the desk and it works as a stand that way. But that's what I would do with the Switch if I wanted to lie in bed or just have the Switch off the TV or whatever. But
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I've actually had an issue like that with the 3DS and other handheld games. It's because I'm a larger gentleman, so just holding something like this in front of me, it gets achy after a while. Especially with the 3DS, if you're using 3D, you have to hold it in the same spot.
Yeah.
lest the 3D go all wibbly wobbly. So yeah, hands-free solutions. Well, I mean, you need your hands for the controllers, but not having to hold the hardware in front of your face probably would be nice. All right, skipping topics, but staying with Nintendo. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal this week, but I don't have a subscription, so instead we're reading from Gamasutra. And that Nintendo has apparently been speaking with the developers of its mobile games, saying, "Hey, you know the aggressive monetization stuff? Maybe pump the brakes on that a little bit. We don't need to make all the money. Some of the money is fine. We want people to enjoy our video games that we make for people to enjoy playing without." Preying on vulnerable people and making them spend lots of money and them losing their home. That's not fun. Nobody likes that. So, I mean, monetize the stuff. It's fine, but we don't. Nobody likes whales. Little bit fine. They can pay us. Don't take advantage of people.
Nintendo's from Japan. You think they would be all for killing whales, but
What I found particularly funny. Well, and to be cynical, this has a lot to do. This is not completely altruistic. This would have a lot to do with Nintendo's company image and its family-friendly image. If stories of kids running up mom and dad's credit cards buying coins in Mario Run or whatever, not a good look for the company. Not good PR. Obsessed Nintendo fans going into poverty or losing their car or their house or not eating because they're spending their food budget on widgets for Dragalia Lost or whatever. Not good PR for the company. So I think Nintendo is run by some genuinely good people, but it's not all altruistic. There is some cynical. It's not a good look for our business stuff factored in here.
And it's something that shows in a lot of their mobile games, but not all of them. And the reason this came up was...
Hey, my family is from Wales.
But this came up because of the Dragalia Lost developers. And they're like, if this was our game, if Nintendo wasn't involved...
I'd love
to. So, let's... read this.
Cyber Agent, who co-developed Dragalia Lost, said Nintendo is not interested in making a large amount of revenue from a single smartphone game. If we managed the game alone, we would have made a lot more.
So they're saying that
I would like the. I don't have access to the Wall Street Journal article, so I would really like the fuller context of that quote, but the way it's presented in the Gamasutra article, that's not a good look for you guys.
No, it's not, because what they're saying there is that they would, if they were managing the game on their own, they would be bleeding their customers dry. And this is something that I don't have a lot of experience with most of Nintendo's games, but or mobile games, but like I played Magikarp Jump. There was a hard cap on how much you could spend. It's like $35 or $40, and you have enough in-game currency to buy everything. And so so you were capped there. There was another Pokemon game, the Match 3 one. That one had a hard cap on it.
Pokemon Picross.
There's Picross.
Had a upper once you spent 25, 35, some amount of money on that game, everything just unlocked, or gems or whatever the currency was free from then on. You could spend so much money on that game. You couldn't keep spending forever.
And then with Mario Run, it was just a flat $10 fee, and you unlocked the whole game. And but other games like Fire Emblem Heroes and Pokemon Go allow you to spend however much money you want to spend on them. And and I've played both of them. Fire Emblem Heroes just wasn't a game for me. I had no interest in spending money on there. I got a balanced team of 5-star characters. Like really early in the game, and that's all I ever needed to play through all the available story content. Um, and with Pokemon Go, I don't spend money in it because I get enough coins from daily uh, gem defending that I get everything that I need out of it. And but you can spend $100 in one sitting on Pokemon Go or Fire Emblem Heroes if you wanted to. There's no upper limit on what you can spend,
Right.
and I don't know how much they're making, but I believe Dragalia Lost is similar to that, where you can spend all you want on the game. There's no upper limit,
Hmm.
but I guess they're not.
But it
Nintendo
also
isn't.
throws items at you like candy. So
Yeah, exactly. That was something else that was brought up, was that Nintendo just you can just play these games for free all you want, and Nintendo doesn't let the developer make the games to where it's like you get to a point where it's like I've got to grind for 5 days in order to get the next upgrade or whatever. Nintendo doesn't do that,
right.
and whereas a lot of smartphone games do that. Like I played a Angry Birds RPG, and which is kind of silly if you think about it, but that got to a point where it's like in order to beat some of these levels, I would have to grind my Angry Birds for hours and hours, just leveling them up in order to beat these levels. And it's just like I got tired of it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not spending money to upgrade my birds, and and some of the Final Fantasy, like some of the Square Enix mobile games are like that as well, where you get to a point and you have to grind and grind and grind, or spend money to upgrade your characters. But Square Enix was never too bad with that, but there was a little bit of grind, like with Brave Exvius was the last game that I played of theirs, and I got to a point where I had to grind a bit in order to advance, but it wasn't a horrible grind. It was a typical JRPG grind. So, yeah, not terrible. But
Yeah, reportedly Nintendo told let's see, Cyber Agent, Dragalia Lost, a co-developer, to alter the game after players complained it was too difficult to unlock rare characters through in-game lotteries. So Nintendo's like, yeah, if it's not, yes, we could make more money, but if it's not fun, then it's kind of defeating the point of video games.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So that's the kind of story that you just don't think you would hear from a major game company these days.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's
We're
one of
interested in you having a good time.
Yeah, it's one of those stories that just really makes you fond of Nintendo. It's a very endearing story and makes you want to support Nintendo because they care about the gamer. They care about that end user end
Well, they
user
can't care too
experience.
much because they took the boob slider out of Xenoblade Chronicles X. So
That's
there's a
true.
limit to Nintendo's caring.
That is true, and they've had their history, but yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, last topic, and that would be Easy K and I just saw Captain Marvel, or I saw it this morning. When did you see it?
I saw it on Thursday. I saw it
Oh,
opening night.
yeah, my
Yeah.
my sister did too. Um,
Yeah.
here was our conversation. I got a text from her earlier in the week. It said, let's see, where is it? Oh, this was me complaining to her about stuff for an hour because, oh yeah, she says, just got my Captain Marvel tickets for Thursday, and I responded, "There's a kitty in it," and she says, "I know. Why else do you think I'm going?" And like, there is a so first of all,
Yes.
we're The most fun things to talk about in this movie are very spoilery. So
Yes.
we're probably going to get into spoilers, but for now, let's keep the spoiler stuff for later and just speak very generally about the movie. There is a kitty in it, and the
Yes,
kitty
there's the
rules.
kitty.
It's a wonderful movie about an adorable cat, and there's like some Marvel superheroes in there somewhere, but who cares because it's a cat. Um,
Oh man, and you see this, you see a bit of this in the trailers with Nick Fury and Goose the cat, where he's just like, oh, the pretty kitty, and I'm gonna cuddle you,
Who's a
and
cute kitty?
yeah,
Like,
he just
yeah,
goes all in adoring this cat, and you see that multiple times through, and it's hilarious because all of our interaction with Nick Fury up to this point has been him being all grizzled and serious, and it's just like we need to save the world. We don't have time for goofing off, and it's like throwing bloody collector's cards out on the table. It's like this guy died for you, so get out there and be Avengers. That kind of stuff. That's all the Nick Fury we've known up to this point, and here we meet a Nick Fury who seems a little more carefree and enjoying life and everything, and it's great. It's a great change, you know. And I enjoyed it. I liked Nick Fury's character in this. Yeah.
Jordan suggests that the cat is named Goose because that's what someone thought it was, and no one ever bothered to correct them. Because that's Annette Bening's character's cat. I forget her character's name. Doctor Peterson or something.
Oh,
That's her cat. We'll get into spoilers later.
Lawson, Dr.
Lawson.
Lawson. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, but there's also
And
oh,
was it just me, or is Goose a girl? Because I thought she referred to Goose as her, and that's totally
yeah,
a
I
male
don't know.
cat.
I don't. Yeah.
And I looked at the names for the four cats who played Goose, and two of them are definitely male cats.
Yeah.
So, but
But yeah, the idea they changed the name from Chewie to Goose, because they're going for the Top Gun reference rather than the Star Wars reference that was originally. It's not really a change that I felt they needed to do. They could have left it Chewie, and nobody would have cared. Everybody would have been happy. Um,
yeah,
but
there's. I'll admit there is a purist part of me that's annoyed that they changed the name for no good reason. But there's
yeah,
enough changes in this movie to what happened in the comic book that
yeah,
you know. So
and
overall, before we get into spoilers, overall, I thought the movie was a blast. I really enjoyed it.
yeah,
Um, I
and
saw someone say something like, "Well, that's like one of my top 10 Marvel movies." I'm like, "There's like 20 of them, so that's just in the
it's in the upper half. Yeah.
upper, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid movie. I don't know if I would call it the best Marvel movie because I have a few
No,
other films that I
there are
consider
other
a lot
movies
better.
in the
But
Marvel canon in the Marvel cinematic
yeah,
universe that I enjoy
oh
more.
yeah, but
They're
it's
better films, but definitely
yeah,
a fun movie.
it is far from the worst. The
Oh
worst being the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor
yeah, or Dark
2.
World.
Yeah, yeah, those are the bottom three films. I think that's a pretty objective measurement for those three. Um, but this one I think is a solid like upper middle to top
I
tier
would
movie. So
definitely in my top 10 of Marvel films.
yeah, exactly.
Not in the
It's
bottom half. Yeah, I
yeah,
really liked it. I think the film is a lot stronger in its um, character work than it is in its action. And I find this kind of consistent across a lot of the Marvel movies.
yeah,
I don't think these movies shoot action as well as they could. Not that the action is bad. It's just often not as good as it could be, I feel.
yeah.
Um, but still, I was entered. It's probably a 2 hour and some movie, and I was entertained front to back. Yeah, Winter Soldier's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely a good one. Yeah.
so let me just talk about a couple little insignificant details that I just absolutely love before we get into spoilers. Because again, the most fun stuff about this movie is just serious spoilers. So I recommend Captain Marvel. If you like superhero movies, you will almost certainly like this one too. If you
Yeah.
generally don't care for the Marvel superhero movies, this isn't going to change your mind
No,
at
it's
all.
not.
It is
Yeah.
the same thing. Do you like the stuff
Do
that
you like the far? You
Marvel?
like the Marvel formula? If you like it, you'll like this film. It's a very by the books film when it comes to the Marvel stuff. It carves its own path in a couple of ways, but nothing too groundbreaking in how it structures its story and its characters. But
Yeah,
it's a solid Marvel superhero movie.
yeah.
So
Oh, Jordan, sounds like you weren't a fan of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
I
I
thought
get
it
it.
was a great one. I
Oh,
thought it
I
was a
loved
great,
that.
yeah,
I absolutely love that, but I totally get why some people do not. I
yeah.
totally get that.
I completely understand it because the Mandarin is Iron Man's big bad. It's his
Hmm.
major foe, and to have the rug pulled out from under you when it came to that, I can understand why you
Yeah.
would be upset. But I thought it was great because in reality, the Mandarin is such a goofy and
Mm,
slightly offensive character.
yeah.
And
I mean, there would have to be changes to the Mandarin
oh,
anyway, but
there was a an Iron Man, like a teenage Iron Man cartoon show, 3D animated cartoon show, and they had a really good take on the Mandarin, I thought. Um, but
I was
yeah,
thinking, yeah, Mandarin isn't in Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
no, he's not. This is a pretty recent. It lasted like one season or two seasons or something like that. But they had a good take on the Mandarin, I thought. But in general,
Yeah,
the Mandarin has
Iron Man
been a
3 though just decided to do something completely different with Mandarin, and I totally get why some people didn't like that
yeah.
because I mean it's not what you want to see. It's like, oh man, the Mandarin's going to be in this movie. This is going to be great. That's not the Mandarin, and you're right. It is not the Mandarin. But
Yeah,
I still thought it was funny as hell. So
yeah.
yeah, it
But
worked for me. But that yeah,
yeah.
I agree that that
But
one's
back
definitely
to
not for everyone.
yeah. But back to Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
They
some small details that I really liked. I don't know if this is a thing in the comic book, but her mohawk that she has in some of the later suit designs in the movie, it's because her hair gets caught in her helmet.
yeah,
That's what her
it's
mohawk is.
something
Just
like
her.
that. Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
I
it's
love
her.
that detail. I don't know if
It
that's from the
is.
book or not, but
Um,
that is so
but it
funny.
seemed to be a. I thought it was. It seemed to be a suit design, not like a design flaw, but like they designed the suit to do that. But yeah, but it looks like when the helmet comes out, it folds out from her chin up, and then it like grabs the hair, and so there's this mohawk of hair sticking out the top of it, which is great. Because you see that a few times in her suiting up sequences, and yeah, that was a pretty good detail that they put in there. I like that too.
Um,
Um,
I love, for me, the funniest joke in the movie, which I'm going to spoil, is Nick Fury admitting to prove he's not a scroll. He admits a detail that a scroll couldn't come up with. He says, "If toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it."
yeah, that was great.
That's the to me that was like the funny. I'm like, this is the best joke I've ever heard. That one
And
really
it
got
was
me. I love it.
great. Yeah, that got a lot of laughs from the theater I was in. Um,
If
but
toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it. He's
and
like, I know it's stupid, but I just no.
yeah,
I
and
love that.
his reaction to like when he's like, okay, now prove that you're not a scroll, and she, photons blasts the
Jukebox.
jukebox, and he's like, what?
And
And yeah, it's like
photon
scrolls
blast.
can't do
Scrolls
that.
can't do that. It's like I don't know what scrolls can or can't do. Oh,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that Nick is curious about the genitalia of scrolls.
Yeah, that was a good one too. It's like looking because they okay, so they had they killed a scroll earlier in the film, and they had the scroll on the autopsy table, and just before Nick Fury walks off, he lifts the sheet up off the scroll and looks down at its genitals, and he's just like,
Huh. Okay.
whoa,
Just,
huh?
just curious. Never
Yeah.
never seen alien genitalia.
Genitalia, yeah. So,
Um,
what did you think of the de-aging effects on Nick Fury and Coulson?
um, almost consistently amazing.
Yeah.
Especially Fury's de aging. It was so
Well,
good that
he had the most screen time of the
he's
two,
in the
so
entire
he
thing.
had to be. Yeah.
And it was so good. I just forgot about it most of the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Um,
You take
Coulson's
notice of it.
Coulson's de aging was a little. He looked a little plasticky in a couple of shots. But his
But
was
he
pretty good
only
too.
had what,
But
like
he's
three
like,
scenes?
he's not in
Yeah.
there much. But yeah, he ended up looking a little plasticky here and there. But yeah, the uh,
But
Marvel
yeah,
nailing this de aging stuff, and they get better each time. There was a movie I just saw that had some really bad de aging in it, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Um, what did I see recently?
Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't
No, it
know.
wasn't a Marvel movie. It was my God, let me look at my what have I watched this year? Hang on a second.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking up that, in general, I like they slightly changed the way that she gets her powers from the typical comic book origin,
Yeah,
where
I
in
thought
the
yeah.
comic book origin, it's like a Kree device called the Psyche Magnetron, which I forget what that's supposed to do,
Uh,
but it explodes, and Marvel tries to protect Carol from the explosion,
who
which
is a
caused. Yeah, he's a Kree, and the explosion causes his DNA to merge with hers, and
along
she
with the
gets her power.
energy of
Yeah,
the
as long as with the
exploding
energy.
science device, and that's where she gets her powers. In
Yeah,
the movie, it's different, and I'll talk about this with the
yeah.
in
There's a spoiler in this,
yeah.
so
Okay. So we're gonna spoil from now on. I know the movie just came
yeah,
out, so from here on out, spoilers. So if you want to see the movie and don't want to get spoiled on stuff, bow out from the podcast now.
yeah,
Totally cool. Come back later. It'll be on YouTube waiting for you.
yeah.
So
So yeah, so spoilers here on out, but in this movie we don't see her origin until like more than halfway through the film. It starts out she already has her
yeah,
powers. She's with the Kree. Um, Jude Law's character
Young Rog.
Jan Rog, something like that.
Yeah.
He's her superior. He's training her, all that mentoring and all that stuff, and she has her powers, um, and but she thinks she's a Kree. She has no memory of her past. She has dreams of things, events, and stuff that she doesn't recognize. Um, but she thinks she's a Kree, so she goes along with the Kree stuff, and they go on a mission, and she gets captured by the Skrulls, and they're digging around in her brain, and she's seeing all of these life events that she doesn't recognize, and the Skrulls are pretty set and tell her to her face that those are her memories, and they're trying to find a Kree device that they call it the core that powers a light speed engine And so they're trying to use her memories to find it. but but yeah, uh, as we learn, her mentor, they change up a little bit here, where in the comics, Marvel is a male Kree, um, and he takes the form of Dr. Lawson and works with Carol. But in this one, Dr. Lawson Marvel is a woman. Yeah, and and so it's kind of just a slight change in that origin sense, but
it's the same kind of science-y explosion blast kind of thing, but essentially, Marvel it makes a science-y thing that the Kree want, and
yeah,
she shoots the damn science-y thing to keep
yeah,
the
it's
Kree, and it
yeah, it's
blows up
supposed
in her face.
yeah, it's like it's a light speed engine or an early prototype of a light speed engine, I believe, and and the Kree won it, and Carol, after getting shot out of the sky with Marvel, Dr. Lawson, she's just like she picks up Dr. Lawson's Kree gun and says, "Oh, you want this? You want this core?" And she shoots it, and it blows up in her face, and she absorbs the energy from it. So there's none of that Kree mingling of DNA going on, other than we find out later on that she also got a blood transfusion from the Kree, which doesn't seem to be that big of a deal story wise, other than to make Jan Rog sound like more of a jerk. but,
I think it
but
probably was partially a conscious decision to help hide who she is.
yeah, that too. I would believe that. So, which means that they probably did some kind of um, bone marrow transplant as well, so that she would produce Kree blood. Um, but yeah, she explodes. She gets her powers from the explosion of this engine. But what's really interesting is that we find out later on that the engine's power source, like she didn't destroy the core that the Kree and the Skrulls were looking for. We learn, and this is a big spoiler. I don't know
Yeah,
if you're
again,
still watching.
spoilers.
We find out that the core is actually the Tesseract, the
Hmm.
Power Stone, or no, the Space Stone.
Yeah, based on,
Yeah,
which
but
makes sense because they're trying to
yeah,
build like, light speed technology off of it. So
yeah, and so we find out that Dr. Lawson somehow found the Tesseract after it got lost somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean at the end of the first
the
Captain
Captain
America
America, right?
movie, and so that's how it got back to Shield for for the first Avengers movie when Loki gets it. So yeah, that to me I thought was a really cool change, and it also helps to tie her to Thanos, makes her more of a threat to Thanos because she has the power of one of the Infinity Stones, which means that to me that she's likely the one that's the one hero that's going to eventually wield the full gauntlet or something in the Adventures
Hmm.
Endgame. That's
You
what
know,
it seems like they're
my
building
my
up
pet
here.
theory for Endgame is Thanos might not even factor into it much at all. Because think about it, Thanos is on a planet. He retired to some planet somewhere. He's done his thing. He's good. He's done. Um, the universe could reset itself, and he would never even know because he thinks everything's fine now. He's just gonna, they may. No one knows where he. I don't know if they know where he is. I'm just saying they could do. They probably won't, but they could do that with
Yeah,
Endgame. Thanos. Who cares? He's done. He's gone. He won. He's living his life on wherever.
yeah,
Um, so I don't know if it's going to come down to a fist fight with Thanos or what. We'll see. I mean, the movie comes out
yeah.
next month, I think, end of April.
Yeah, the end of April.
I think it was
So
May, and they moved it up a few weeks. But
yeah, they're going. They're doing a worldwide release on the same day rather than Europe getting it a week before America. or the U.S. So, but yeah. So I thought the change to her origin was fits the Marvel Cinematic Universe better than her comic book origin.
Yeah, a little
So
less comic booky, I guess you could say, and also
yeah,
more thematically relevant to the story they were telling. I thought narrative
yeah,
worked better. Um, yeah, I thought that was a good choice. I also, and again, super spoilers here. I was really impressed, generally by the movie just saying, yeah, we know what happens in the comic books. Doesn't matter because the
yeah.
trolls are not the bad guys. They are um, the essentially foreign refugees.
Yeah, that was something that you know, because we all, you know, if you are familiar with comics or Earth's Mightiest Heroes or anything like that, you know that the scrolls have multiple storylines where they attempt to invade Earth by infiltrating government and the superhero community and all that stuff. We don't really get that in this, and the scrolls that we do meet, while they initially come off as kind of a threat, like but this is while Carol still thinks she's a Kree.
Mhm.
Um, she fights them, they attack her, and all that kind of stuff. But eventually, as we get to know Ben Middleson's scroll Talos, um, we gain a little more sympathy for who they are, because it's like they take the form of multiple characters or multiple people in Shield and other things, but they never actually kill any of those people that they're taking over.
Yeah,
One of the scrolls takes over for Coulson in the beginning of the film, and but we find out that he's a scroll because Coulson radios in. It's like, where were you? Where did you guys go? I'm here at the Blockbuster by myself. And and then and then we see a couple other times where like a scroll takes over a higher up in Shield, and
yeah, he's
we
tied up
find
in
out,
a closet somewhere.
it's just they don't kill anybody. It's just like they want, and we
And
learn
I
that
love
they
it. I love him arguing the semantic point that he's stealing an identity. And even his wife, well, it's kind of stealing. It's like, whose side are you on?
it's
How
great.
good is Bill
Yeah.
Mendelsohn in this movie? Oh my God,
Oh
what a
yeah,
great
he was
performance from him.
great. And he does a great job, despite the fact that his face is just covered in
Covered under about
prosthetics.
8 pounds of prosthetic
Yeah,
latex.
he's got this massive Halloween mask of a prosthetic on his head, and he still manages to emote with his face pretty darn well. And
Got a text message, do you?
yeah, that was my wife text messaging me. But he can emote pretty darn
Coming
well,
from inside the
despite
house.
this. And I enjoyed his performance, and it's great.
Another great joke from the movie is where they find the black box, which is a CD-ROM, and they put it in a computer, and they all sit around for a full minute waiting for the damn thing to load.
Yeah, and everybody's just kind of looking at each other,
Like,
and
what's it doing? And it's floating, and like, oh my God, this is so slow.
yeah, that was a great gag. And going back to Goose the cat, you know, and this was a great running gag throughout the first 75% of the movie. But Ben Middleson's scroll character sees the cat, and he's
He's
just
like,
like,
"Plug!"
"What are you doing with a flurgan?" And Nick Fury's like, "What's a flurgan?" He's like, "That's a flurgan." He's like, "No, that's a cat." And and it's just and Nick Fury, he's just like, "I'm just gonna hold this right here because I can see you're terrified of it."
I don't know why you're afraid of the kitty, but
Yeah, if you're afraid
reminds
of it,
me of
I'm keeping it right here with me.
similar
And
scene in The Mummy from like Steven Summers movie from like '99. It had Brendan
yeah,
Fraser in it. Uh, mummies are afraid of cats for some reason. Brendan Fraser like, look what I got. He holds the cat up and says, ah.
Yeah,
Oh god, that's so funny. And
yeah, and
I
and then
wish I didn't know what a flirkin was, and that
yeah.
whole thing was this because I was just waiting for that the entire
Yeah,
movie.
and later on when the Kree catch up with Carol, and they're like scanning everything, and it's like, they scan the cat, and it's like Flurkin, danger level high, and it's like, put this away somewhere, and then they scan Nick Fury, and it's like human male, threat level low to none, and Nick Fury is offended by that
He's like,
comment.
that scanner must be broken.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah, but it's like threat level high with the Flurkin, and then we see the cat finally.
Flurkins are the Kirby's of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, because later on, they find the Tesseract, and they and she puts it in a Fonzie lunchbox, from Happy Days, and then they finally, they split up, and she's like, you take the Tesseract but leave the lunchbox, and Nick Fury's like, I'm not touching that, and then this is when you finally see the Flurkin show, and it's like just tentacles fly out of the face of the cat, grab the Tesseract and swallow it whole.
Mhm.
And it's great. I love it.
And
But
he drops the cat. He's like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "Okay,
uh,
I'm gonna pick you up now. Please don't eat me."
yeah, his whole demeanor around the cat just completely changes, and it's great. He does a great job with that scene, and then later on you see it attack a bunch of Kree soldiers, and just based on the scene directly after it, it's assumed that the Flurkin ate a few of them.
Yeah,
So
it's shot in a way. It reminds me of where Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy just lets
just
loose and just slams a bunch of guys in the ceiling and stuff. It's kind of similar to that. Speaking of Goose, the effects were pretty good. I mean, they're obviously CG. Whenever
yeah.
the cat switches to CG, it's clearly a CG cat, but it's at least a good CG cat. I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
It's,
like when it's up against
oh
the
God, that was
box when
funny.
they're the G-force thing. Yeah, that was
They-
very cartoony. But
it's like
yeah,
ah. I'm like, oh my, oh, that
yeah,
was funny. I'm like, that's a CG cat, but it's so funny. I don't care.
yeah. Oh man, but yeah, but I think the best twist in all of this, the entire movie, was learning that the scrolls, or at least this group of scrolls, weren't the bad guys. They were refugees. They were trying to escape the war that the Kree and the scrolls have been,
They
for
were
centuries apparently.
trying
Um,
to reunite with their families and just get away from the damn Kree.
yeah, they just wanted to escape from it all, and I thought that was great
And I
because
think I think the movie might be weakened slightly if you're a big fan of if you've seen all the movies and you go into the movie knowing the Kree are the bad guys, especially where you have Korath and Ronan.
yeah,
You're like,
Korath
I
and
know these
Ronan, and
I know
and if
these
you
people are bad guys, so the heel turn is probably you're going to see that coming a mile away.
Yeah, and it's especially apparent if you've watched Agents of Shield any, at least the last two seasons, because we learn just how terrible the Kree are just from that show, and but yeah, but yeah, it was pretty great, I think, because they don't, you really don't get, or it's like they do the twist on the scrolls and the Kree at basically the same point in the movie,
Yeah.
so you know for a fact who the good guys are and who the bad guys are.
But I have to
Um,
admit, there was a part of me, just because of my history with the Marvel comics, that I was still not really trusting of the scrolls for quite a long time throughout the
yeah,
movie. I'm
and
like,
I've
where's the heel turn? Where's the double
yeah
cross coming in?
yeah, and that's something that I've read a lot about. Was a lot of people were just waiting for the scrolls to betray Carol, and Nick Fury at some point, but it never happens, and
Mhm.
I think that's also for the better because it allows for us, the movie going audience, to have that kind of closure, even though we're expecting another twist, another betrayal. It never actually happens, and I think it's good. I liked it.
Yeah,
But
I could just watch the family dinner table with with the scroll and stuff. Dinner with the scrolls. Yeah,
yeah,
again, the all the character worked for me worked a lot better in the movie than a lot of the action. The action's fine,
yeah,
but man, I just love the character. I'm also interested to see what they do with little Monica
Rambo, yeah,
Rambo,
yeah,
because
yeah.
who knows
People
what
are,
they'll do with her? Because she'll be an adult by the time Endgame rolls around if she didn't get snaptured. Um,
yeah, and that's something that a lot of people are expecting, because they spent a lot of time with her child character, and so hopefully, maybe she's an agent of Shield. Maybe she becomes a superhero of sorts after the snapping, so that they have another ally from an unexpected source. But yeah,
yeah, Jordan has a fair counterpoint to my. Is it a problem that the Kree being the bad guys are telegraphed? If you've seen the previous movies, Jordan points out that there's an entire planet which gains insight from an AI god and isn't allowed to be seen by more than one person in as many different forms. How is it not obvious who the bad guys were? Fair point. Fair point.
yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I don't think my point was is Nintendo Marvel didn't hide that mystery well, but whether you, as Jordan points out, whether you've seen the early movies or not, there's no good way to hide that. I mean, if you've seen movies before, you're going to see that coming because that's the way narrative works. So
yeah. But it's also a fair point that in war, the good guys are always the side you're on.
mhm.
Um, you know,
And I really
and
liked Talos, the
yeah,
scroll. I
Talos.
liked his
Yeah,
admission that he's like, "It's war. I'm
I've got blood on my
my
hands
my hands
too.
are
Yeah,
bloody too."
yeah,
I'm
and
like,
and that's a fair point. And it's like, when it comes to war, there generally are no real good guys and bad guys. It's just two groups of people with opposing goals and reasons for fighting.
yeah,
And
the Kree are just trying to get away from the people antagonizing them and reunite with their families, but from someone else, from a third party perspective, they come across as terrorists.
yeah,
So, yeah,
uh,
so some good stuff in there. Some good stuff. It's not explored as much as it could be. Like a lot of the socio-political stuff. It's not as prominent as in, say, Black Panther or Thor Ragnarok, but it is there, and it is.
yeah.
I quite enjoyed it, and it got me in the feels. Um,
Yeah. What did you think of the soundtrack and the song choices they had?
I guess I have a better affinity for late 70s, early 80s music, so the Guardians movies, I would say, have the better soundtrack, but they still picked some primo 90s tracks for this film, so I
Yeah.
thought I that's probably a soundtrack that's going to that's gonna move some units. Some really good song choices, I thought. Uh,
Yeah, they definitely did. I enjoyed. They had Nirvana's "Come as You Are," No Doubts, "I'm Just a Girl,"
mm,
and a few other songs that I can't remember
oh yeah,
just off the top of my head. But I thought they were thematically appropriate.
yeah,
The "I'm Just a Girl" was a little on the
a little on the
nose,
nose,
but
but it
yeah,
worked.
because it's in the scene where Carol realizes her full potential, and then kicks her previous Cree team's butt, uh, collective butts. But but yeah, but it was a little on the nose, but I liked it and I enjoyed it. I found myself singing along to it, so because I like No Doubt. It's not my top favorite band ever, but I enjoy some No Doubt, and Nirvana
Hey,
and everything. So I enjoyed this soundtrack, but yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxies 1 and 2 were a lot better, just from what I listen to as well, because I'm a 70s, 80s rock
yeah. Jake, you missed the
music.
entire podcast. We're spoiling the hell out of Captain
Captain Marvel.
Marvel right
Yeah.
now. So if you haven't seen the movie and want to, probably don't want to watch the rest of this.
Yeah.
Um,
But Jordan also brings up Stan Lee. So
oh, I forgot.
there were
Oh, that was beautiful.
there were just
That
two
got an
things like
that got an
yeah,
applause from my audit. From
yeah,
my crowd.
there was two bits, and the
Oh,
first was the opening Marvel logo, where most films open up with scenes from the comics or
the
other
flipping
Marvel
comic
films.
page
Um,
aesthetic. Yeah,
yeah, this one flips through all of or nearly all of Stan Lee's Marvel cameos. I would have to watch it again to see which films they picked, but they had most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe ones in there, from what I could tell.
yeah.
Um, and that's what they used for the opening logo, and then they had a "This is for you, Stan" or something like
In
that right
memory of,
after it,
thank you,
in
Stan.
memory of, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, and my audience actually clapped at that point.
Yeah,
That was really sweet. And he still had a cameo in this one,
yeah,
and I almost
yeah,
started
because
crying.
he
That
filmed
was
the
funny.
yeah, he filmed the cameo just not too long before he died. So like this is his last filmed cameo. He's not going to have one in game, I believe. But in this one, he's on the train where Carol beats up the old lady.
The one you see in all the previews. Yeah,
Yeah, but he's on that train, and she's walking down the aisle, trying to trying to figure out which of these people is the scroll, and Stan Lee's sitting there reading, and I from what I read, it's a script for Mallrats, which is a film that he starred in the '90s as himself.
yeah. Kevin
Um,
Smith's second movie.
but he was sitting there reading that, and she pulls the script down to look at him, and then he looks at her, and she smiles and keeps on walking, and and that was great. I don't know if they refilmed her reaction to him or not, but I think
Hard
it
to
seems
say
like they
'cause it
did.
held for a while.
Yeah, but but so that's his cameo, and I thought it was a great and fitting final cameo for him, because it's a period cameo, because again, he's reading a script of a film that he starred in as himself,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah, Snake. Since you got in late, our reviews of the movie it's a lot of fun and very enjoyable. Not the best Marvel film,
but if
not
you like
perfect,
Marvel
but
films, you're gonna
yeah,
like this one.
yeah. If you
Yeah,
generally like Marvel superhero movies, you will probably like this too. If you generally don't, this will not change your mind. Um,
yeah,
and it's got a kitty in it, so that's all I need. More
yeah.
goofs.
More Goose.
And I love
Yeah,
you saw the after credit scenes, right?
yeah. We waited for those, and so the first or the mid credit scene was. So if you saw the after credit scene of Avengers Infinity War, where Nick Fury frantically sends the message out to Carol on his little pager, um, this scene is the remaining Avengers. Um, well, I guess it was just Captain America, Black Widow, and Bruce Banner. I think were the only three there, or was there somebody
Rhodey
else?
was there
Was
too.
Rhodey there too?
Yeah, I think he was there.
Okay, but yeah, they're reading or watching screens with statistics on how many people are missing after the snap, and then it goes to the pager. They have it hooked up to a machine to keep it powered up, and they're just like, we need to find out what this is, and what it's and who's receiving the message, because they know it's Nick Fury's, and they're trying to figure out who he was trying to contact, and then it goes dead, and they're like, "We need to get this thing back up and running. I want this message. I want to find out who's going on," and then Carol shows up behind them, and she's like, "Where's Nick Fury?" And then it cuts out. That's the end of that. Because did you get a trailer for Endgame before your showing?
I did not.
I didn't either, and I was very surprised at that. And because I was expecting it, because we got the Far From Home trailer,
Yeah, it did get spicy.
and yeah, but no Endgame, and I was really surprised. But I guess because they had the mid trailer or mid credit scene with Endgame in it, that was their connection, or thing leading up to that. So, and then the final scene where Goose, it's hilarious. He hops up onto Nick Fury's desk and then just like goes into hairball mode like a cat does.
Yeah, just horks up the Tesseract.
Yeah, that was great. I enjoyed that.
Yep.
And it's like all spittle and slime all over it on Nick Fury's desk. And that got a lot of laughs.
Whatever pocket dimension exists inside of Flurkin's mouth is very slimy.
Yeah.
So overall, I really enjoyed the movie. A lot I loved about it. So yeah, I'm glad I went to see it this morning, even though the air conditioning was not on in the theater when I first got there. Because I walked in there, I'm like, oh my god, it's 80 degrees in here. This is going to for one uncomfortable viewing.
Yeah, I don't think there was an empty seat in my theater, and of course, I was there on opening night. So,
it was pretty full this morning. I found an 11 o'clock showing, and speaking of Fury, there's a movie called Fury. It's a foreign film, so it's not wide release. It's playing at one theater near me, but it's not playing before noon ever. So I'd have to pay $13 if I want to see it, and I don't want to pay $13 to see it, which is a shame. It's one of those. Yeah, basically, it's a movie where mom's daughter is kidnapped by bad guys, so she punches all of them until they give her back. It's one of those like Taken or something. The bad guys take your kid and you go and you just beat the hell out of everybody until they give them back. It looks like a lot of fun. And it happens to be playing at a theater near me. I'm like, great, I'll go see it. But it only had like a 145 screening. I'm like, I'm paying $13. I'll watch it when it hits Netflix or something. And I would love to, and I feel kind of bad about that because I would like to, support foreign film and stuff like that because I'd like to see more cool stuff come on over. But I am not paying $13 for a movie. $7 and change, yeah, okay, sure, but 13,
no. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, so. I know how that is. Yeah, we're my wife and I got AMC.
Not even with my gift card, which I got from a birthday.
Yeah. My wife and I, we decided to get the AMC theater membership, and so
the Stubbs Club,
Stubbs,
like that.
A-list, and so we decided, let's treat ourselves. Go watch it. It's like $20 a month for each of us, so $40 a month. So if we go and see at least 2 movies during 1 month, that pays for the that covers the cost of the membership, and so yeah.
Oh, you know who plays the mom in this movie Fury, which is the English title? I have no idea what. I don't even know what the original country this is from, but who plays the mom in it? I don't know the actor's name, but she played Rose's sister in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. She's the woman in the bomber at the beginning of the movie who dies. The sister who dies. That's her. Because I was watching the trailer, I'm like, this looks neat. And I was like, I've seen this person somewhere before. I had to look her up. I'm like, she was in Star Wars. Neat.
Okay. I'll have to figure out what this film is because I looked up Fury movie and what comes up is a war film.
Yeah, it's Furie. I don't know if that helps.
Furie. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The poster is kind of purplish.
Yeah. So, okay. I'll have to check this out because yeah, this sounds interesting. Because we, my wife and I like the Taken movies. I don't think can't remember if
I
we saw
saw
the
the
third
first
one or
two.
not,
Yeah.
but we definitely saw the first two and
Man,
enjoyed
talk
them.
about movies with bad action. I mean, they're kind of fun, but the action is just really poorly shot. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's Liam Neeson's just an older gentleman,
yeah,
or if I mean, some of the action in those movies is just inscrutable. It's like, what even just happened here?
yeah,
So, all right, so we've been yammering for an hour and 40 minutes. That's enough
yeah,
out of us. So, hey, thanks everyone for hanging around.
yep.
Oh, you're
Hopefully
back?
you
Well,
didn't
that's
get
good.
accidentally spoiled if you
Yeah,
weren't weren't looking
yeah.
for it. But
But unfortunately, the most interesting, fun things to talk about concerning Captain Marvel are super spoilery.
oh yeah,
And oh, something Jordan mentioned. I love that when Monica is picking a new color scheme for her suit. I love the
yeah,
different versions it goes through, especially the uh, Disney Electric Parade
yeah.
version. I'm
That
like,
was
actually,
great.
no, keep that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, there was some good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. I imagine some of those color schemes are like deep lore kind of color schemes. Some of them are
possibly.
probably
Yeah,
references that I'd have to really think about to recognize. But like maybe the light, the white and gray one was kind of a reference to Monica, her God, photon or spectrum or whatever her name is these days.
yeah,
She has kind of a white and gray suit. Maybe that was a reference to that. I don't know. But still, fun movie. I very much enjoyed it, and am looking forward to the other Captain Marvel coming out this month,
yeah.
Shazam,
Shazam!
because that
Yeah,
looks like
I'm
a lot
looking
of fun
forward.
too.
Yeah, that one
Warner
does
Brothers
too.
seems to think that this movie is very good because they've started showing it to critics already, and that's
Yeah,
usually a
and
sign of competence from a studio.
yeah, and early thoughts, no reviews yet, but early thoughts that people have posted have been pretty positive. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm super stoked about this because Wonder Woman I liked but I didn't think was great. It kind of fell apart in the third act for me.
yeah.
Um, uh, but Aquaman I thought was just a ton of fun, and
Oh yeah, it
Shazam
was.
looks great. The new Suicide Squad sounds really interesting. I heard they're going to be going with like Polka Dot Man and some weird
Yeah, they got Polka
third
Dot
tier
Man,
characters.
King Shark, and a few other characters that didn't that just kind of
King Shark, Polka
yeah
Dot Man. Oh God, what is the other one? The Peacemaker,
yeah
the one
Peacemaker
who
yeah
beats the crap out of people to make peace or something. I'm trying to remember the characters. I can remember what the character does. I can't remember the character's name. But I'm
yeah
like,
Peacemaker yeah
oh, is
that's
that right? Is
one
that what it is? Okay, yeah.
yeah I remember
That
that
can be a
one.
lot of fun
Yeah, it looks like it can, and they're getting Idris Elba to
to do
be
a dead shot.
Deadshot now
That's
instead
that's
of Will Smith.
that's a good choice. Idris
Yeah,
Elba is great.
I think he's good. Yeah. So this is what IO9 reported from Collider says a gender swapped incarnation of Ratcatcher, um,
Oh, all
King
right.
Shark, Polka Dot Man, and the lethally violent pacifist uh,
Ratcatcher's a Batman
Peacemaker.
villain, isn't it? Because who I
Maybe.
have in my head is Rat King from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I
Yeah,
think Ratcatcher's isn't that
Ratcatcher
a Batman Beyond
at
villain?
no, at one time, an actual rat catcher in Gotham City, Otis Flanagan sank into a life of crime. He's been imprisoned numerous times in his career for assault, kidnapping, and robbery. He calls himself the
Condiment
Rat
King.
Catcher because of his special talent, the ability to communicate with and train rats.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it sounds like he's based out of Gotham, so he would be a
Okay.
Batman villain. So,
Seems to me that was a. I might be thinking of another character who commands rats and lives in a sewer, but it seems to me there's a Batman Beyond villain like that. If it's not the same one,
I don't remember
but
anyone like that from Batman Beyond.
yeah,
But
but
yeah, but you have the Ninja
anyway,
Turtles villain.
I'm super happy that I'm finally looking that DC is finally making superhero movies that look good to me. Um,
Oh
I mean,
yeah, yeah. I think I just based on what we've got, it seems like they're finally in a stride that
yeah,
they think will work, and they're rolling with it. I doubt we'll see a new Justice League or Batman movie anytime soon,
I
though.
think one of the
So,
execs at Warner said something along the lines of we're gonna be doing standalone solo movies for a while before we try team ups again. So, something in that vein.
which is
And
good
yeah,
because
that's
it
a good
took what 5 films before Marvel released Avengers, or
idea.
something like that.
Yeah, it was like 6 years of films because I think Iron Man was 2000 or no 4 years because Iron Man was 2008 and Avengers was 2012, I think.
I think.
So there was two Iron Mans, Hulk,
I'm looking it up here. Phase
Thor,
one: Iron Man,
Captain
Hulk.
America, and then
Two: Iron Man. Two: Thor, Captain America, and then the Avengers. So they introduced Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America before Avengers came out. So
what would we
yeah,
do if DC pulled a smart move and started building up to the Injustice universe? That would be you'd have to well, no, I guess you could just jump right in, but I think from a DC cinematic universe perspective, keeping in mind that not everyone has the background with these characters that dorks like us do, um, I think you would really have to lay the groundwork to build up all of these characters and who they are before you flip them on their heads into the Injustice universe. Because if you just start there, then it doesn't work as well. It's kind of like in Man of Steel, where he snaps Zod's neck and is like, "Oh!" and everyone's like, "What?" It didn't play because it was never established that Superman had any type of "I never kill" kind of moral code because it was his
yeah.
first movie. We'd never gotten to know him, so that
Well,
didn't.
and we saw him be a complete jerk and impale that trucker's truck, and it's just like
Kind of
some
dick.
very poor characterization on Zack Snyder's part.
Yeah,
But
there's some stuff I like in Man of Steel, but mostly just visually. But
oh
yeah,
yeah,
well,
and Hellboy is looking pretty good. But
uh,
yeah,
it's not grabbing me. I'll probably give it a chance anyway because I like Hellboy and I like Neil Marshall. But
yeah,
the trailers so far just haven't been grabbing me for whatever reason. But I did see a trailer that surprisingly grabbed me. Nancy Drew. I don't know how I missed it, but they're making a Nancy Drew movie, and it actually looks pretty damn fun and charming. I got to admit, I'm like I'm probably won't go see that, but if someone wanted to go, it's like, hey, I want to go see the Nancy Drew movie, I'd be like, yeah, all right. Um, Zack Snyder can make good movies. Yeah, certainly he can. I quite liked 300. I don't think he was completely successful with oh God, what's the name of the movie? The one that's like three layers of mental stuff, like the girls who are in a mental asylum, and then they're in their minds they're in a like kind of a burlesque,
yeah,
and then deeper level they're like superheroes. What the
yeah.
hell's the name of
Sucker
that?
Punch,
Sucker Punch.
Sucker
Thank you.
Punch. Yeah,
I enjoyed the movie. I don't think Zack Snyder was completely successful with what he was attempting to do with that one, and that's a longer.
yeah. I don't know what he was trying to do with
Watchmen,
that one.
Watchmen, I think was mostly successful. I disagree with a few of the things he did differently from the book, but yeah, I mean, you could say, "Oh, you're just a book purist." I think the book did a couple things better, but
Yeah,
overall, I thought Watchmen was pretty good. Man of Steel, I thought was just not great. I mean, it was watchable.
yeah.
Yeah, I just I don't know why
I
this
don't know
chat is censoring a Sucker Punch. Um, but
because it
yeah,
has suck in it. I don't know.
okay, or Punch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, you know what? I actually think the original Watchmen comic is overrated. I think it's very good, but I kind of I read it after it was I read it like in 2000 or something. It came out, I think, in the 80s. So I had long heard about it, and then I finally read it. And I was like,
yeah.
"That's it." It's fine. It's good.
No, and Alan Moore doesn't seem to like much of what he did back then.
Alan
Like,
Moore doesn't seem to like much of anything these days.
yeah, because he
He
doesn't
strikes
like
me as
his
a rather curmudgeonly
yeah,
dude.
he doesn't like his Dark Knight comics and like the yeah and
In
yeah,
some
the
ways,
one
they haven't aged well, but they
yeah
certainly were. Well, maybe it's not so much they didn't age well; it's that I think he's probably annoyed that so many people took the wrong things away from both Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, because
yeah.
he was being very critical about superheroes in both of them. And a lot of people glommed onto, this is so badass and awesome. And Alan Moore's like, oh my God, you don't get it at all. This wasn't
Yeah,
subtext. This was the text. How do you not get this?
yeah,
So I can imagine him being kind of annoyed by that. But yeah, but I am super happy to live in a world where I'm enjoying all of the Marvel movies and the DC movies are starting to be good. Even the last Transformers movie was great. Did you see Bumblebee?
I have not seen Bumblebee yet, and
Bumblebee
I'm kind of disappointed because I really wanted really want to see it. So
it's genuinely good. I really enjoyed
uh,
it. Um, I don't know what they were doing with Starscream in that movie, who's apparently
who is
not
apparently not
Starscream,
actually
even
Starscream, but
though
yeah,
he looks exactly like Starscream. I think they probably made it Starscream and then realized, oh, we have a good movie. Oh, we don't want to kill off Starscream. Oh no, that's Jetfire. Or they just gave it some other name. It's like that's not Jetfire, but
yeah,
so I imagine that that character was the voice for that character was originally a lot closer to how Chris Latta did Starscream's voice in the
yeah,
original cartoon, and then they just dubbed it over with someone else rather than recoloring and reanimating. So
yeah,
Studio says they are considering Bumblebee a soft reboot of the series. Yes, and good.
and good, yeah, it should be because man, those other films are bad. But, oh well,
Okay, so we're just going to chat all night if we don't stop the podcast at some point. So okay, hey everyone, thanks so much for watching.
thank
Not
you.
Super Podcast Action Committee, Andrew. Get with the times. It's Molehill Mountain, and so let's plug our stuff and get out of here. Andrew Eisen, Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube, and you can watch fun videos like my debut review for Sailor Moon, which came out last week. Tomorrow, I will uh, release, I guess, a debut review for Sailor Moon Crystal, which is a remake of Sailor Moon, and I'm guessing it adheres closer to the original manga. So we'll do a bit of a compare and contrast. So that'll be out sometime tomorrow. So look forward to that, and follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen. So Zachary, plug away.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night, where I talk about gaming and politics. And if you want to send me pictures of rodeo and fried food, I'd be more than happy to take a look. You can also follow my game development work at DK_gaming and DivineKnightGaming.com. And if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and OKGameDev.com.
All right. One last thing, I was supposed to get my protein delivered today via, I bought some more protein via Amazon, and that was supposed to arrive today. Uh, I got an email. It says been delivered, but there's nothing on my porch. There's nothing in my mailbox. So I go to Amazon site, and it's like, what to do if your package says delivered, but it's nowhere to be found? And their solution is wait longer. like, like okay, wait 36 hours because maybe the carrier we used considered it delivered when they gave it to a third party carrier to take it to your house. So in very rare instances, it might show up 2 days later. Okay, but what if it doesn't? I need my protein. I gotta get my gains. So
All right.
that never happened before. Anyway,
Yep.
actually 2 days ago I got a different apartment's packages. So I walked down there to see if my package was sitting in front of her door. No.
If your
So
neighbor looks buffer soon, ask some questions.
there we go. Like my neighbor comes up. Okay. It's like, hey, do you have my protein? Son of a gun. All right, that's it for us this week. Thanks everyone for watching.
All
We'll
right.
see you next week. And hey, join me tomorrow for the debut review of Sailor Moon Crystal. It will be fun.
All
Take
right.
care, everyone. Bye bye.
See ya.